Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our concert. I'm John Fenstermaker, Director of Chapel Concerts. What a wonderful place this is. I want to call your attention to the lists of the rest of our concerts. This is the 8th of 10, and I hope you'll take advantage of the wonderful talent in the series we have. Our first two concerts, it can be hard to match those. This concert was performed yesterday also. It was a wonderful experience. One of the members of Seraphic Fire is going to tell you some protocols for being an audience in a live recording. You can probably imagine some of the things that you're responsible for. This concert will be an hour and a half long. No intermission, but there will be points every 5-8 minutes where there'll be applause, and you can leave if you need to. So it's not you're not totally trapped here, in case you have any exigencies. These young singers are fantastic, from all over the country: L.A., Minnesota, New England. The recording guy at the back said, "These singers are the Ferraris of singers. They can do anything. You just ask them to do it, and they do it." So I'd like to introduce now Dr. Brad Diamond. I asked Patrick, what's his title? He said, tenor.
Thank you so much. So I don't know if you missed it, but he just called me a young singer. I'll take it. So just welcome again. Dr. Bass is going to walk you through this program. He's going to give you a lot of information throughout the course of the performance, what to expect, what you're going to hear, what you might have just heard. My job is to just give you a few words of insight about what you're about to be a part of. Normally, Seraphic Fire records our CDs in a room just like this, with this kind of equipment, but without any of you here. So normally this room would be completely empty, and we would do takes over and over and over again. And in our experience, we have found that lacks a certain something special, the energy that we might have with an audience. We perform differently when we sing for people than when we sing for microphones. So this is the first time Seraphic Fire has ever done this. We're recording two performances back to back, yesterday and today, with a live audience. But we do need to warn you or advise you that you are going to be a part of this recording. Hopefully it's in a good way. First, if you have not already done so, please, I solemnly beg you to take your cell phone out and turn it not just to soft, not just to vibrate, but off. The world will be there in 90 minutes. We had some alarms go off yesterday during the recording. We had some indicators for text messages that were just beeping and humming throughout the performance. We really would appreciate not losing an important moment over something as simple as that. Just silence those devices completely. And the other is, we're going to be very quiet in this room for just a moment and listen. Right, so when anything happens in this room, we will hear it. It's the reason why we're here, to record. It's a dynamite acoustic environment for what we are going to do. But if you move in your seat, we will hear it. If you adjust your clothing, you'll hear it. Isn't that amazing? Just something like that. If you adjust the position of your feet in your shoes, everybody raise both your hands and gently twist your wrists. Yeah, if you hear anything, it will be on the recording. So any jewelry, watches, necklaces, anything like that, we just ask that you just be really, really still and really, really quiet during the performance moments. Now, there will be moments, like he suggested, in between when you can shift, when you can do all the things that we as people need to do, and you'll see us, the musicians, the vocalists, we will be taking advantage of those opportunities to move our bodies and limber up, and we would encourage you to do the same. Be a part of this organic process with us, and then as soon as it goes quiet, and Dr. Bass raises his hands and a pitch gets blown, imagine that you are in this recording. Yeah, see that? I mean, that's the way this works, right? So just do everything you can to be as cognizant as possible of those 3 or 5 or 7 minute intervals when silence really is essential for us in what we do. Thank you so much. This is a little mentally fatiguing, having done it yesterday. This idea of trying to be super on point and super attentive to these sounds and things. We know that you'll be going through it with us. But Dr. Bass will mention this. You will have the opportunity to go forward and tell people, hey, I'm on that disc too. My silence is represented on that disc. I was there when it happened. So thank you so much for that. We really appreciate your attention to anything you can do to limit your motion, your mobility, or noise in any way. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to the stage my colleagues of Seraphic Fire and its conductor, Dr. James Bass.
I saw 3 ships come sailing, sailing, come sailing, come sailing. I saw 3 ships come sailing on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw 3 ships come sailing on Christmas Day. And what
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Bass, and the remarkable musicians behind me are members of Seraphic Fire. So glad you're here with us this afternoon, and we apologize and appreciate the conditions under which we have asked you to be as quiet as possible, and so far, so good. But when it's time to applaud, if you think it's good, you may applaud fully, because we may sample your applause and put it at the very end of the disc. So when my hands go down, don't feel nervous about that. We certainly appreciate the energy. What an incredibly beautiful space this is. The Bower Chapel is just such a special place, and it's a special place to us, Seraphic Fire. This will be our 4th recording we've made in this very room. And we've been streamed 4 million times. So who knows who has listened to the acoustic of Bower Chapel right here in Naples. So we began our concert today with an arrangement by Edwin Fissinger, the late collegiate choral conductor from South Dakota State University, and his setting of I Saw Three Ships, which, did he see ships in South Dakota? I mean, it's a pretty dry state. But no recording of that piece exists except his own college choir back in 1973. And from there you heard the tenors and basses of Seraphic Fire chant the Gregorian chant Adeste Fideles, which became harmonized, and then of course we've inherited it as one of the most famous carols of all time, O Come All Ye Faithful. Now we're going to go on to what is the oldest piece on this program by the composer William Byrd. William Byrd was in the employ of Queen Elizabeth I in England, and the circumstances of their relationship is quite unique. He was a brilliant composer. She is and was one of the most storied monarchs of England in a very tumultuous time when Catholicism was actually illegal in England, but William Byrd was a Catholic. But Elizabeth loved his music so much and respected him as a musician so much that she continued to employ him and gave him essentially a unilateral copyright to print music and to compose music, along with Thomas Tallis. So music, in this case, rose above politics and religion, and their relationship remained until the end of his life. So we're going to perform for you today his setting of a text called Lullaby, My Sweet Little Baby. And this piece, you have the idea of Mary and the baby just together, and the music has this kind of gentle, motherly lullaby aspect to it. And then it goes into a portion of the story that we often hear in the Coventry Carol, which is that idea of King Herod and his madness and his raging when he ordered all the firstborn sons to be killed. And so that text is kind of mixed into this beautiful lullaby by William Byrd. Oh, we feel the energy and we love it. Thank you so much. It's what we're trying to capture is the experience of a live performance. And that applause, that just gave us 200 more miles to the gallon. We appreciate that. Anybody in here in church music? Do church choirs? Sing in church choirs? Don't attempt that piece with your church choir. It's a little tough. Okay, this next set of music is a special one to us because all three of these were arranged by our founder and artistic director, Patrick Dupre Quigley. So our first one, Jesus, Jesus, Rest Your Head, a very familiar melody. This one beautifully sung by one of our baritones, John Buffett. The middle one, I Wonder As I Wander, which will feature mezzo-soprano Tivoli Trelor, it comes from the Southern Appalachian tradition, and there are not a lot of carols that come from that tradition. But John Jacob Niles, who composed the most famous version of it, who was a musicologist and kind of a folk music authority, he was, in his biography, said that he was in the Carolinas, North Carolina to be specific, in the 1930s, so Depression era. And he said he saw a young girl, probably somewhere between the age 10, 12. Obviously, she looked like she was in need of some money. And she was out on the steps, and she had a sign that said 25 cents for a verse of song. And she would sing. He writes in his biography, 75 cents later, I had all the material I needed to create my new carol. So he claims that this melody was sung to him by her. So I Wonder As I Wander is from that tradition. And then finally, Jesus en Pesebre, it touches roots with our Miami home as we sing the first portion of this in Spanish, but then it will go to a very familiar carol I'm sure you all will know, kind of mixed in and woven through this beautiful arrangement and features our soloist Alex Kolaitzi. So here are three movements arranged by Patrick Quigley.
Rest your head.
And guess what? Any one of these singers would have stepped out and could have sung a solo like that. They all sound like that. It's amazing. Every one of them could just be a soloist, and then they can blend into a section, and you can't identify who they are. That's the glory of great ensemble singing, just like that. And that's the way it was for many centuries. They didn't hire soloists that just sat in a chair for 45 minutes and waited to sing. They had to sing all the choral parts, and then they had to also sing their solos, just like this group. Okay, so next, you can see the choir has a slightly different setup. We've divided ourselves into double choir format, and this features the very famous melody by Michael Pretorius, In Dulci Jubilo. Lots of beautiful instrumental arrangements of this, and different versions of the vocal part as well. So you'll see over here, choir 1, it's one on a part. So if one of them happens to not sing a note, there's no one there to catch them. They have to sing everything. And over here we have choir 2, which everybody has at least 2 parts. And you'll hear how the music is passed back and forth in this beautiful antiphonal manner that was very common in this late Renaissance and early Baroque period. So here is In Dulci Jubilo, Michael Pretorius. Wow, music like that in a space like this just sounds so good. Don't try this in your basement. It just doesn't work. This is such a beautiful space to sing in. We're so happy to be here. Hope we can tell that. We're being so careful for these recordings, but inside we're just ready to bust open. I can feel it. So these next two pieces are the same text. And these are a little more kind of inward thinking sounding music. Very, very beautiful and reserved. It comes from a medieval text and carol called Adam Lay y Bounden. Some of you may know the first version we're going to sing by John Ireland, which is probably the most famous setting of this text. But in this text, it talks about Adam making the mistake and taking that apple and then laying in bondage for 4,000 years until the promise of the birth of Christ, which frees Adam from the bondage. So this is a very old medieval text. We're singing it in modern English, but you can still hear that hint of medievalness in it. We will then go to the second setting of the same text, which is by an English composer named Matthew Martin. And this is a very difficult setting of it. You'll hear the choir begin with the tenors just very simply walking a tightrope of pitches as we feel the tension of Adam's mistake. But as the piece moves along, it opens and becomes more and more free as we move away from the bondage. So here are two settings of Adam Lay y Bounden.
Amen.
Wow, that's another one. I teach at a university, University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. I would not try that with my college choir. Not that one. You need professionals, as these singers are. Wow, thank you so much. Okay, so we have 3 pieces now that are all by American composers and arrangers. And they come from, 2 of these come from a traditional kind of folk aspect to the original tunes, and the third one is an original tune. We're going to begin with an arrangement by Tim Takash, a Minneapolis-based composer-arranger, of what is called the Huron Carol. 'Twas in the moon of wintertime. And this text comes from the Canadian indigenous peoples, the legend, the story, and the melody itself is actually French. From there, we'll go to the Angel Gabriel from Heaven Came, which is a Basque melody originally. This is the northern Spain, just below the Pyrenees Mountains, just south of France. And the American composer Susan Labar has set this mini concerto almost on this beautiful melody. And then the final piece in this set is actually brand new. It's not based on anything else. It was a commission by Seraphic Fire from the American composer James Kallenbach. And part of our mission is to continue to add music to the canon that may be replicated once we're all gone. And so this is a piece that we want, hopefully 100 years from now, people to say, the traditional carol, All March of Days. How beautiful the March of Days. So we present these 3 works to you now.
Thank
Okay, we're in the home stretch. Wow. How many of you, is that the first time you've heard Seraphic Fire sing Jesus Christ the Apple Tree? How many first-timers are in here? Excellent. This is a tradition for Seraphic. We've done it all 19 years. We're in our 20th season right now, and that means next year we'll be able to drink. We're already able to vote, but it's such a special treat, and you just never know what audiences might respond to. But the idea of being surrounded in beauty like that, pretty much everyone will respond to this, of course. And it sounds, it's like the most HD experience you can possibly have. There's a singer somewhere 5 feet from you. And it's just such an amazing experience. We thought 5 or 6 years in that maybe we just wouldn't do it for a couple years because maybe people are getting bored of it. And we talked about not putting in a program, and then people called in and threatened us in the office and said that we were going to ruin Christmas for them and their families. So, you are now a part of the family by hearing that experience with us. All right, we move on now to a single piece. This is Maria durch ein Donfaltking, comes from a German carol tradition. The melody is originally German. And the story, the text, talks about Mary with the baby Jesus, and they're walking through a garden. And all of the stems, there are no buds, there are no roses on there, it's just thorns. But as they pass through the garden, buds appear, eventually roses, which open and bloom. So lots of layers of metaphors in this. Of course, the thorns for a prefigurement of what would happen later in the life of Christ, but Mary being the person that brings forth Jesus as the rose and the bloom. Lots of beautiful imagery here. So this is a carol that's very rarely done in this country, if ever, and so we present it to you now. Maria durch ein Donfalt ging.
Maria durch ein Dornfeld
This is our last full set of music. We have 3 pieces here for you, and they're quite special, all of them. The first one comes from a Norwegian composer named Ola Yelo, and a lot of Ola Yelo's music, you might consider it minimalist. He uses small ideas, repeats them many times, and then just subtly changes them for maximum impact. This piece is a little bit like that. It's Away in a Manger, but the melody maybe you're less familiar with unless you're Episcopal. Then you probably will know this one. Our soloist on that is Elise Albion. And then we're going to end this set of music with 2 works by the great William Dawson, who is one of the kings of the African-American concert spiritual form, which is one of the only truly American forms of classical music. We're going to present Mary Had a Baby, the beautiful, slow spiritual, and that will feature Addie Starrett, and then we will end with Ain't That Good News. So much for being here today. We have one final carol for you as we wish you, obviously, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and most of all, we just wish you peace this holiday season. Thank you so much for being here today. We do have recordings available. You can contact our office. You can stream us on the World Wide Web. There's a lot of places that you can find the previous 3 iterations of our Christmas discs. Our very first one, 2012, was nominated for a Grammy in Best Small Ensemble category, and we're hoping to repeat that with this one. Who knows? Again, to Naples, to Moorings, to John Fenstermaker, and of course here to the Bauer Chapel. We're so glad to be here, and thanks for coming and spending a little bit of your time this afternoon during this busy holiday season. We greatly appreciate it. So we're going to end our concert tonight with what is probably the most famous, most requested carol of all time, Silent Night.